you could theoretically get pregnant from this act.
Yeah.
And you're like making believe, but you don't actually want to get pregnant. No, God, no. And I was like, that's the breeding kink. And I was like, she made an anthem for like anyone who has a breeding kink. And I thought it was so funny. And it's such a good song.
Oh, we're going to post
such a good
it.
song. Hi, everyone. Welcome to the Femme Tell All podcast. My name is Madison Bellissimo.
And I'm Ruth Devereaux.
And we're so happy you're here.
We are happy you're here because we are going to talk about
this?
something fun today.
Very fun today.
It is fun.
We're talking about...
educational.
Quite educational.
For all of us.
For all of us. Not age range. I would say 18 plus.
Please.
Please.
Not for children.
Not for children. Not safe for work. Also, unless you have headphones.
Yeah.
But you might laugh. This one is about fetishes and kinks, guys.
Mm-hmm. And we have been asked multiple times.
Repeatedly.
to cover this topic.
I think we had maybe 6 messages about this.
And we are not experts by any means. If you think we are, thank you.
Oh my God, I love it. We are not experts. It's true. And I think that's why we were a little intimidated to cover this at first.
Yeah.
But
intrigued.
We're intrigued.
Yes.
And now we're a little more educated. You're more educated than I am, I feel like.
I am. Well, we started reading about it, and then we decided to wait till we were on air to read this out loud. And Connor's already laughing because he heard us going through some of the list.
He feels bashful about the list.
I mean, I think he might have some things he wants to talk about.
I'm super shy.
He's super, super shy, guys.
Yeah.
There was a couple that you mentioned out loud that he like literally peeked his head into the room and was like, what was that?
Was intrigued.
And also terrified, I think, a little.
I think he's hiding his true feelings.
I feel attacked. Read them, Ruth.
Okay. Wait, well, first let's define the difference between
a fetish and a kink. Thank you.
Okay. And this was also very educational because I don't think we knew this.
Because you originally had brought up to me, you were like, oh, the only thing I know about fetishes is you were saying like
good girl
or daddy and stuff.
Yeah.
And I was like, that's actually more kinky than a fetish.
Which I didn't know.
So let's talk about it.
Let's talk about it. So a kink can be part of a person's overall sexual makeup, i.e. you occasionally like to be spanked. You're here for a bit of latex. Or very much the focus of a person's eroticism, i.e. you want to get spanked every time you have sex.
Mm-hmm. Interesting. Okay.
Okay. A fetish, however, usually involves an object or specific body part that is the focus of a person's sexual interest. It's a need that is required in order to reach full sexual satisfaction. Some fetishes are more intense than others, and some folks may require a fetish act or object to be a part of an experience to become aroused at all.
Wow. Mm-hmm. Okay, before we get into this, because this list is pretty extensive, we found a list of kind of the more common ones or the known ones, right?
Yeah.
And I just want to say to the audience, disclaimer, we are not here to kink shame.
No.
We are not yucking your yum by any means. And
yucking your yum. I really like that.
Yeah. I think that's
the most known term?
It's known to me. I also get common phrases wrong all the time. But I think that yucking your yum, it's a good way to put it without being like so egregious, right? But yeah, I think we just want to make sure that everyone at home knows that even if we have some strong opinions that are about to unfold, reactions, by no means are we trying to judge you or any of your
as long as
lifestyle.
Anything you're doing in the bedroom is fine if both parties are agreeing to that and it's not hurting anybody and you do it in a safe way.
Absolutely. Wonderful. Now let's hear the list.
I think it's in alphabetical order, so.
Incredible.
Where did it go?
She's pulling up the list, gal.
Okay, here we go. Here we go. The first one on this list is called age play.
Age play. Ooh, okay.
Age play is an umbrella term for a kink that involves someone role-playing at a younger age than they actually are. Think a baby, child, or toddler. These relationships can range from platonic to more sexual and BDSM oriented. Like many kinks and fetishes, the exact definition of this term varies widely from person to person.
Okay.
I feel uncomfortable reading this because obviously
it feels pedophilic
it
a little.
feels-
Yeah,
it
yeah, and
does.
I understand that. And that's where I'm like, I'm already out the gate sounding very judgmental, and I apologize for that. But I agree with you. Like I picture like a baby, like a woman dressed as a baby.
Exactly.
And
why is
gives
it that
me
we
the heebie-jeebies a
automatically
little.
go to the woman dressed as that,
I
though?
know. That's such a good
Right?
point because it's like the man could do it.
The
Very
man
easily.
could do
And
it.
The person could do it. Any
Yes.
sex, any gender, any orientation as well.
Correct. But instantly my mind went to that too because it feels like that would be...
Well, I don't know if that's like a bigger patriarchal thing of we feel like as women we always have to appear younger anyway, or like age is such a thing to us.
Or men like that kind of like youthful, like ditzy,
like
kind of
sexual currency is there's a non-zero contributor of youth and like being just like agile and young. So interesting.
Can I ask you, ladies, really quickly?
Yeah,
Would
please.
you ever like that from a guy?
No,
Not
at all.
No, great question though.
Yeah. Thank you for
Well, not for me. I'm talking about. No, I'm just curious if that's like a thing that you would ever like, because you just mentioned like it's usually the woman that's played younger.
I think if a man, personally, again, no shame in your game,
Love that. That's super cute too. No shame in your game.
but that's from my generation.
I've never heard that.
You haven't?
No.
See, we teach each
Yuck
other
and yum,
things.
shame and game. Love it.
I would just feel uncomfortable if a man asked me to do that. Why that would be a turn on for him and what he was getting out of it and where those thoughts took him.
Sure. I will say though, another disclaimer. I completely agree with you with this. Age play isn't my yum.
Yeah.
Okay. However, I will say there is something really refreshing and wonderful about someone who can communicate about their sexual needs and preferences.
Sure.
And I've had men do that to me where I've like, again, something was like prompted to me like, hey, would you be down for this? And I was like, no, actually. Thank you for the thought though. And
you should find somebody who is.
And they will.
Yeah,
and
they will.
that's what,
I mean, there's a lot of people out there that have different like levels of
preferences.
Yes.
Yeah. And there are so many apps now too where you can find people
Yeah.
that like share your kink or share
absolutely.
your fetishes. And I feel like I'm glad that Connor asked that because it should be a very like open discussion. And I feel like especially with your sexual partner, even if that's a casual or more of a like long-term relationship, if someone is, I think it's even fun specifically when you're in a relationship and someone is like, ooh, even if you've been having sex for a while and they go like, you know what I'd love to do? I'm like, tell me. Like, I'm like, that sounds so exciting. So yeah, anyway, I just wanted to say, disclaimer, you should bring that up with your partner.
This was Connor's favorite.
I think I know which one it is.
It's a balloon fetish.
Oh.
Are you sexually aroused by the look, shape, and or feel of balloons? You may be a looner. Whether you get off on popping it or not, these folks are called non-poppers, rubbing it, blowing it up, this is highly personal fetish. How you interact with the material is totally up to you.
Wow. Okay.
That could be close to like a latex fetish, right?
I was just going to say, it's giving latex. It's giving latex.
Yeah.
And also, what a taboo subject that we're covering today. I love this for us.
I do too.
We don't always get to really cover taboo subjects.
Yes.
So, love that for us. Latex. Yeah, it's giving latex.
It's giving latex. Okay.
Good for them.
We have a long list here, so we're going to keep going.
We're going to rapid fire.
Yeah. Blood play. Blood play refers to the act of using blood during sex. As a person may be sexually aroused by the scent, sight, taste, or feel of blood. This can play out in a myriad of ways, from period sex, which we fully support. Please go forth with that.
Go forth with period sex.
Yes. Or they may use medical instruments to draw blood. But this is incredibly risky with potential to result in serious injury or death.
Yes, so be careful.
Please be
careful. And that's where your earlier statement, you were like, as long as people aren't getting hurt.
Yeah.
And I'm like, some of these kinks and fetishes actually do promote harm.
Yes.
But it has to be extremely consensual in a safe space. And like, you would have to be
and maybe like even study the limitations prior to trying this.
Absolutely.
And make sure fully that every step that you're going to do with your partner that they are fully comfortable with before getting into the rush of what you guys might be doing together.
Yeah, I would say even low key, maybe consult your doctor. Yeah. Like
imagine that call.
Yeah, right.
Hey, Doc.
Like, Doc, I got a fetish. I got to check.
Can I borrow a needle?
Yeah, you got a handy scalpel.
Yeah.
Interesting, but okay, continue.
Okay. Bondage.
A
little bit
totally
more.
normal.
Yeah.
I feel like totally normal. I've never done bondage.
I've never done bondage either.
But
oh wait, I kind of have.
She's done bondage.
I've done light bondage.
Light bondage.
Yeah.
So you're a bunny. You
Is
know,
that
they call it, it's like a bunny and then a rigger. A bunny is the person that gets tied up, and then I think it's the rigger is the person that ties them.
Oh.
I think. Yeah.
Bondage, by definition, means the act of tying up or restraining a sexual partner, whether it entails ropes, handcuffs, or a spreader bar. Bondage combines psychological and physiological stimuli, making it appealing.
Interesting.
Want to learn more? That's what this article
Even
says.
on this article, they're like, you should try bondage. I think
That's the only one it said want to learn more.
I think that one's a very common one.
It's very common.
Yeah.
And that one can be done safely and in many different levels and ways.
You do have to have trust with your partner, though, because I, even like with people that I feel like in the past that I've really trusted, that I would have been like, oh, yeah, sure, I would have done that with them.
Yeah.
But I'm like, you're tied up sometimes, like in like constraints that you really cannot get out of yourself. And that would be wild. Like, you really got to have trust. You have to be like, we are here. If you don't let me out, I'll fucking kill you, you know?
I know where you live.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think the best person to do that with would be a sailor, right?
A sailor, right?
For sure.
Because they have many different knots.
Knots. The king of gnats. I'm the fucking king of gnats.
A man in suit and a man in
uniform
bondage.
and bondage.
Yeah.
Call us now.
Next is breath play.
Yes.
Yep.
That one's also common.
In certain ways. It depends on the level, is what this article is saying. So there's erotic asphyxiation. They're considering it a dangerous sexual act that eroticizes limited oxygen. You do need to be careful with this when you're participating in this. Like, there is like, I think it is very common now for like a light choking.
Yes.
Which could be very welcome. But but again, that you are cutting off oxygen to somebody's brain, and you need to be aware of like what their level of comfort is with that.
I think the problem here is that choking has become high-key mainstream.
Yeah, totally.
And so many people, I feel like, don't know actually how to choke.
Yeah.
And I don't know about your experience, but the last couple of years in dating, as it's reached its peak of like popularity, everyone's fucking choking everyone. I'm like, please get your hand off my fucking neck. I'm like, and again, especially when it's not asked.
Yeah.
Like, I've at least had it prompted where guys are like, you know, they'll like, and they'll do it like in their sexy way. They're, you know, they'll put their hand, they're like, do you like this? And I'm like, it's fine.
Yeah.
You know, like, it's
not for you.
Like, it's not for me.
Yeah.
Again, no yucking someone's yum, just not for me. But then I've had guys that like straight go for it when they're
Without
like
asking?
kissing me and did not ask.
While kissing?
Yeah.
Wow.
And I'm like, eh. And I was like, yo,
Too
homeboy,
much.
get your hand off my fucking neck.
Yeah.
We don't know each other like
Yeah.
that. Also, stop.
Yeah.
Like, and yeah, it's interesting. I feel like the only times that I've like remotely enjoyed it, remotely is like very little, and it's like with someone I've really trusted where I'm like, they're not going to act, and they know what they're doing. They're not like, they're putting it here.
How does one learn how to do that, though?
Well, because it's
Wait, you know?
high key, no. Yeah, I little. Like I'm not teaching this. Like I don't know. But like I know there's some
Like a
kind
point?
of finesse where instead of like a full
Like
right here,
throw, yeah.
it's more of a like 2-finger situation. So it's like you're pushing, so there's pressure, but you're not actually asphyxiating them.
Yeah. So it's just more so for the feel of
Exactly.
that. Yeah.
At least that's the people that I've
Yeah. I mean, I feel like I've heard stories of people actually dying from no, for sure.
It's not funny. That's not funny. I'm so sorry.
No, but they like it so much they'll tie something around their neck and masturbate, that's and then they actually die from it. So it really truly is like some people have like a higher tolerance for it and take it a little bit too far. And I think that's why this article says to be very careful and like know what those limits are and know that you are cutting off oxygen supply and your brain needs that to survive. Absolutely. So please be careful.
Yes.
So next, breeding kink.
Yep.
A breeding kink is the desire to be bred. This can include a kink for getting pregnant and or a kink for having someone ejaculate inside of you. The kink is rooted in fantasy and usually does not involve someone really trying to get pregnant.
Yeah.
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 Yeah. And pretty much all I have to say about that one is that, like, I was having this conversation because this is a perfect segue. Okay. Miss Sabrina Carpenter, I love you so much. She just came out with a song called Juno after the movie Juno with Elliot Page, who was another person before. And Elliot Page was wonderful in that movie.
Absolutely.
But Juno is all about a person that got pregnant at a young age. A young woman got pregnant. And so this song is about getting pregnant, or like she's saying, Sabrina Carpenter is saying, who knows, like I might let you get me pregnant. It's pretty much like if you play your cards right, like this could be
your
it.
future.
And it's completely a breeding kink song. And I was saying this to someone the other day and they were like, no, it's not. And I was like, that is a breeding kink. And they were like, no, a breeding kink is like actually wanting to get pregnant. And I was like, no, it's actually not. It's
she was correct, whoever you are.
But it's like, it's more of the concept of like, oh, like you could theoretically get pregnant from this act.
Yeah.
And you're like making believe, but you don't actually want to get pregnant. No, God, no. And I was like, that's the breeding kink. And I was like, she made an anthem for like anyone who has breeding kink. And I thought it was so funny. And it's such a good song.
Oh, we're going to post it.
Such a good song.
We're going to post it.
But yeah, sorry to have a little segue, but I'm like, it's so interesting. I think that one's a little more common than people think too.
Do you think it's more sexual again for the woman to say like, but not really think it, but the man to feel like she wants him to?
I'm sorry, rephrase that.
Do you think the kink comes more so from a woman, like for a girl? Do you think she's like, oh, I get turned on by telling you I want you to get me pregnant, or is it more from the guy being like hearing that and him being like, oh, she wants me to get her pregnant, and I'm gonna go. This is gonna get I'm gonna go so deep, and that she's gonna obviously get pregnant because my sperm is that strong.
I think that's a huge part of it. I think men love, like, I think it's genuinely, it's also like embedded in our fucking DNA to like procreate, right? Like that's as much as we like to deny it, and even if you are someone that genuinely does not want children, does not want to procreate, there is like we have. Like physiological things, just like part of our brain that tell us to do that.
Absolutely.
Like ovulation is real, you know? So I think there's a part of it that it's men like having this need to sow their seed, you know? And I think there's also a need of women feeling like it, or someone with a uterus, like being like, oh, this is like my duty is to carry a child, you know? And it's like, I think it is physiological, and it's wild because I think about it, and this person that I was talking to about this said to me, they were like, do you think, they were like, don't all couples want to do that? And I was like, no, I don't think couples actually really want to do that.
Yeah.
And they were saying to me like, no, I think couples, both parties want that. And I was like, I really think it's not as, like, it is common, but it's not, that's why it's a kink.
Yeah.
But I think it's a common kink. All that to say. Anyway.
This one is not so common. I hope not. It's called CBT, cock and ball torture. Connor is in pain just hearing this.
I hate it.
He's like literally like this.
He's like shaking in the corner. It is a sexual activity in which the male genitals are subjected to pain. This can range from mild constriction to the misery of testicle crushing. Wax play, penis flogging, penis trampling, testicle stretching, urethra play, and erotic electrostimulation all fall under this kink.
Wow. How many are on this list? Do you mind me asking?
We're only at the C's.
I know. That's why I'm like, oh my God.
Okay, we're going to go through.
I think you just hit some.
Let's
some
hit
more,
the big ones. Yeah,
I mean,
okay.
like, are there a lot more?
If there's
50?
I think there's a lot. Like, I'm just going to, if we come across a title, we want to stop and explore a little bit more.
Let's do it. Just go.
Claustrophilia, that's being a sexual attraction to tight places. Clothed female, naked male, CFNM,
heard of this.
which basically sums up the straightforward nature of the fetish. In this dynamic, a clothed dominant female typically objectifies and wields her sexual power over a naked man.
Incredible.
Snaps to that.
Snaps from Kana.
Clown fetish.
Yeah.
When you're drawn to or are interested in dressing up as a clown during sexual, intimate, or kink play.
Wow.
What type of clown?
Does not say.
What type of
All
clown
men
would
are
you be?
clowns. Not joking. Were you setting me up for that?
I was going to say. Yeah, I had to say.
I'm sorry.
It was good.
Cuckolding. Is a kink or fetish where a guy gets hot and bothered or humiliated by his spouse or partner getting it on with someone else. Dominance and submission, we know that one. Erotic electrostimulation. Wow. Expositionism.
I'm waiting for the feet because the feet
Foot
are
fetish.
very prominent.
We got to
prominent.
the F's.
Have you ever had someone ask for feet pics or anything like that? Really?
No, have you? Oh my God. Who asked you for feet pics?
I have been asked for feet pics, and I also have been like a man I dated. Have I not told?
No,
I feel like I've told.
I don't think so.
I think I protected him. A man that I dated for a little.
The phone went down.
Was like straight up. It's funny when we were sexually intimate with each other.
Yeah.
It never came up. It was after this person tried to get back with me and then was like talking to me and was saying like, also, I want you to know I want to explore this with you. And I was like, what do you want to explore? And they were like, it's specifically like feet and like worshiping at like the altar that is me. And I was like,
I think I know.
And I was so shocked because this person is such a strong personality that I was like, oh, like this goes on in your mind. I didn't know. I would have never guessed. And he straight up was like actually serious. And nothing wrong with it. I didn't even think it was like a clown thing. Like when he said it, I wasn't at all like, ew. You know, I was just kind of like, interesting.
Did you ever do it?
No, we never slept together again after that. So I'm like, we never dated after that. So wild, right?
Yeah.
But I'm surprised you haven't because that's such a common thing.
I've never, ever had anybody ask. I've never had like a sexual partner like
even
pay
mention your
attention
feet?
to that. Like,
Yeah.
no.
Interesting.
Yeah.
And I also...
my feet feel ashamed.
I know. You have beautiful feet. But it's one of those things too where have you also thought about selling feet pics? Because your girl has. Not sold, but has thought about it. I'm like, this market is like too vast.
But that's crazy. I guess I just like, because and of course, like as we're saying, like no shame to anybody that has this, but like I've just never had that affinity towards that body part that I just never
But people
thought
do.
They do.
So that's where I'm like, capitalize on it. We're in a capitalist society.
And then do we like put our logo on there so people buy the VPix and then also tune into the
Watch,
podcast?
this is, now that we're talking about this, I bet you're going to be asked now. High key. Okay. Next one.
Okay. Gender bending.
Oh, interesting.
Is exactly what it sounds like, playing with gender. This can look like a cis male, gender male, or masked person wearing sexy lingerie, pantyhose, or other traditional femme attire.
I've heard of that. I've heard about like people that identify as men wearing their like wife's lingerie and stuff like that. Interesting.
I think I've heard of that too. I don't even know how to pronounce this. Hirsute fetish? If you are aroused by women who take a all-natural approach to grooming and let their hair down there or armpits or legs grow.
I don't think that's...
Is that a fetish?
I wouldn't even say... I feel like a lot of guys... Question.
Yes.
Do you feel like, in your experience, that men have like really had a very stark position on how you're groomed?
On grooming? No. I haven't. Yeah, especially if you're with somebody for a long time. It's like, I remember when I first started dating Neil, my sister was like, how's everything going? I was like, I'm going through a lot of shaving cream. Because I was shaving so often. But then when you get comfortable with somebody, like the stubble gets there. Like it's just,
it happens. Yeah. No, totally. I feel like, obviously, I don't know how much is indoctrined into my brain too, or what's my actual preference. But at this point, I'm like, this is my preference. This is how I keep it.
Yeah,
this is how
I feel more comfortable. I feel sexier when I'm like
exactly
shaving,
in a certain light, right?
Yes.
But I will say, pretty much without fail, every single partner that I've had has like really genuinely had. I feel like maybe they had a preference that they just never told me.
Said anything,
But like I would even like push them and be like, "Don't you have a preference?" And they would kind of be like, "No, I can go either way. Whatever you. That's great."
Yeah.
And I'm like,
I mean, men are just happy to be there.
They're happy to be there. They're happy to get some.
They're like, thank you.
They're like, thank you so much.
Yeah. You're welcome. Hot whiffing.
Hot whiffing?
Yeah. It's closely related kink to cuckolding, where people offered up their significant others to an outside partner as a matter of pride.
Hot wifing.
Hot wifing.
Hot wifing.
Hot wifing.
Oh.
Yeah.
That's a thing?
Mm-hmm. I do it all the time.
So it's like, oh, I have a hot wife, so I'm going to
give her to somebody.
You can fuck my hot wife?
And
is that the concept?
But you can't like have her?
I think as I recall, it's like the difference is like one is you being there for the act and one is like you letting.
Oh, that makes sense. Okay, so
I could be wrong. I could be wrong.
You're right. So the first one I think it's more watching.
It's active.
Yes,
cuckolding is watching.
Mm-hmm.
Correct.
Hot wifing, not whiffing. Excuse me.
Is letting your partner go
and be with somebody.
So that's a part of polyamory, I would assume, right? Yeah.
So okay.
Interesting. Okay.
Learning new terms today. Mm-hmm. Then one's just called humiliation.
Yeah, that one's pretty common too.
Yeah. Impact play. If the thought of striking your partner with a hand, toy, or object for sexual gratification seems extreme, it doesn't have to be. This sort of sensation play can range from sweet love taps to smacks that leave a mark for days.
Wow.
That's a thin line.
That's it. It is a thin line. Yeah.
Okay.
I will say, when you can see a little hand mark or something, kind of cute.
You like it?
Low-key kind of like it. Is that just me?
But specific parts of the body, right?
Yes, 100%.
Yeah.
And like, there's a thing called love bruises, you know?
Yeah.
I'm like,
I bruise easily too.
I do too.
Yeah.
That's why I'm like, you touch me, and I'm like,
I'm like,
oh my God,
your fingerprint.
He was here. You know? Like that, and like, it's genuinely nothing more than that. But like,
how do you say that?
Oh God, no, I have no idea. Sorry, I'm trying to read the description. It's the tickling one.
Oh, it is.
Yes.
Another one of Connor's favorites.
Is it Malagnia? I don't know. I'm so sorry.
I'm going to try. Sound this out. And then I'll spell it for the audience
I think
in
it's
case
like
they want to research
an N,
it.
like Nis.
Knismal.
I don't think it's a K because it's KN.
Oh, okay. Nismolanginia.
There you go. It's gonna sound so different.
It is a fetish where people derive sexual pleasure from the sensation of being tickled. Mm-hmm. Could not be me. Mm-mm. Could not be me for this.
And Connor had mentioned there's a documentary.
I was looking it up.
Yeah,
just for this occasion.
Wonderful.
Tickled 2016. Journalist David Ferrier stumbles upon a mysterious tickling competition online. As he delves deeper, he comes up against fierce resistance. It's good. It's a really good doc.
Okay. That's a Connor rec for anyone that's listening at home.
If you hate it, it's his fault. Or if you love it, it's his fault.
If you love it, call him. Yeah.
Latex fetish.
Yeah.
Machismo?
Machismo?
Masochism.
That's not.
Yeah, masochism?
Oh.
Yeah, like that's like where you're masochistic, you know, like you're the M in BDSM. Are you a masochist?
I was just acting it out.
It's a very common kink. Yeah, it says this kink centers on pain and can range from light hair pulling to extreme cock and ball torture. It's a fairly common kink. A 2017 survey found that 10% of respondents were somewhat or very interested in exploring pain in the bedroom. Yeah, masochism.
I actually like hair pull.
You do?
Like a light hair pull, yeah.
Really? Interesting. I wouldn't have clocked you as that. But you like that? No, you're kinkier than I think. Like every time we talk about it, I'm like, really? But it's a good.
Only in the bedroom, not in the street.
You're allowed to do whatever you want. But hair pull, I'm down. Okay.
Yeah.
You want me to go next?
Yeah, you go.
Okay. Next one is orgasm control, also known as edging or peaking.
Oh, I've heard of this.
Yeah. This kink involves, are we doing all the descriptions? This kink involves putting the brakes on an orgasm right before the point of release. Sure, it takes some mental and physical practice to control your orgasms, but once you get the hang of it, the ebbs and flows of pleasure leading up to climax feel pretty damn good. I think this writer likes edging.
Yeah.
A similar stop-start method involving stimulating the penis until just before orgasm and then stopping until the urge to ejaculate goes away has been used for decades to treat premature ejaculation. Interesting. So that's a medical help as well. Sure. Pantyhose fetish.
Okay.
People, usually men, drawn to this fetish experience sexual excitement by wearing pantyhose, admiring those who wear pantyhose, or some combination of sight and tactile sensations. They may also get off on handling worn pantyhose. Interesting. So that's probably like the panty fetish too as well. That one doesn't surprise me as much. I mean, I guess the wearing it, but it's similar to the lingerie one as well.
Totally, yeah.
I think like admiring someone who's wearing pantyhose, I feel like I look sexy in pantyhose. Like I'm like, yeah.
I don't know if that's a kink.
Admire it.
Would that be a kink?
I guess so. It's part of this. Rope bondage. We know that one. Sadism. If the idea of inflicting pain on others excites you, you may be a sadist. From biting and bondage to hot wax and handcuffs, this type of play encompasses a variety of physical and psychological power exchanges. Sure, some people are into more extreme activities. Still, most people practice S&M are into safe, sane, and consensual play. That's true. Oh, God.
Uh-oh.
This next one, just the name alone, sploshing. Sploshing is the sexual interest in messy, wet, and jello-like substances. It is also known as a wet and messy fetish. This can include things like sitting in a giant vat of jello, cake sitting, and playing with shaving cream. Interesting. I've heard of cake sitting. You literally sit on a cake.
And that's a turn on?
Yes. That's what I'm saying. We're not yucking each other's yums here, but yes.
I'm really intrigued.
It's because I laughed at it.
But I just want to understand more.
It's a tactile feel. Like people enjoy the tactile sensation of it. Some people also like the taste of it. Like they like the slipperiness. That's what they're saying. I'm reading from the article.
This is not from personal experience.
Okay, we only have two more.
Oh, okay.
Next one is, we lost our place. Bear with me. Okay. Next one is voyeurism. It's the act of deriving sexual pleasure through watching someone else or multiple people engage in sexual activities.
Like
is this
porn,
not porn?
Right? Yeah.
But I guess
let me chime in on this one.
Yeah, go ahead.
No, I think it's like being there. It's like it's kind of like cuckold. It's like actually like watching, physically being there.
So it's similar to cuckolding, but you're not necessarily in the relationship.
Do you know there's actually like sex clubs around LA?
Yeah, 100%.
Oh yeah.
I learned.
I think he's. Have you been to one?
There's one I went to a Halloween party one time and I was talking to a guy and then he goes, "Yeah, I part of this club, blah blah," and then because I knew a mutual friend of ours.
Yeah.
And then he goes, yeah, she performs at this thing all the time. And it's like you have to be invited to it.
Wow.
So I'm not going to out them.
No, God,
have you gone?
I've been very curious.
He's been curious. He's going to leave it at that.
Go and report back.
Let us know.
Connor on the street.
Connor on the street. And then this last one is wax play, which involves hot wax, usually from a candle, dripping or pouring. I'm surprised like ice didn't come up. Was ice one of them earlier? Because I feel like that's another sensational thing that I definitely like. I think I did that once and I was like, oh, interesting. Like I was like, oh, we're adding ice. I was like, what a weird thing to add. But then
how do they introduce that? Is it just like, oh, I'm going to go get some and come back?
Yeah, literally. They like went and got ice and then they came back and then they like put it on your body. But that's cold as fuck. So like, Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's a similar sensation.
I mean, during the heat wave we've been having, I would have
that would maybe be hot.
Welcomed that.
Low key. So these are the kinks and fetishes that Men's Health
today.
covered. There's your phone, Matt.
Thank you.
And you're like, I need to wipe you're on a watch list now. But all of this to say about. So now we've covered it.
Yes.
Our lovely listener at home that wanted us to cover it.
If there was a specific kink or fetish you wanted us to cover that maybe you're questioning, again, like that's why we don't want to make fun of it, because everybody should be open to exploring any kind of sexual experience that they want, again, in a safe, consensual environment. So you shouldn't feel bad if you have an attraction to certain things, and you should be open to questioning it, asking about it, because you're most definitely not the only person that is interested in it.
I was just going to say, if you're going to garner anything from this conversation and specifically this list, they're really fleshed out, like for a lack of a better word. These kinks and fetishes, they're like, there are so many different types. There's so many different subgenres of those as well. They're obviously popular.
And there's different levels within each like section of that too. Like if you like something but not to the extremities, that's why you have to communicate with your partner. Even if they're interested, their level of that might be higher than yours. And so you have to meet somewhere in the middle or something that you guys both feel comfortable with. Yeah.
And I think Field, if I'm not remembering that incorrectly, is an app where you can put your kinks and fetishes. And if you're open to open relationships, things like that, that's like one that I know friends that have used and found partners that like actually aligned with what they were interested in.
Yeah.
And I think that's so cool. Like we should really take out the stigma. I know that like there was a couple times where myself or Ruth were laughing at this. We're just laughing because we're like, oh my God, we've never heard of some of these. And they sound a little jarring, or they sound just... It's the fear of unknown, right?
Yeah.
I think it's...
Well, and again, like you don't know what you like until you try it, right? So we might be laughing at it, but maybe we tried it and like, we would be like...
Hot damn, you right.
100% recommend.
Yeah, give me the handcuffs, you know? We never know. And I think that's where what we would recommend, I know for a fact, us at Femtol really encourage exploring yourself, exploring with partners, feeling safe and consensual, in all of your sexual intimate acts. And if this was something that intrigued you, I dare you to go further and maybe research it yourself and see if that's something that you'd be interested in. Obviously, if you're in Los Angeles, which I feel like the majority of our listeners are, apparently there's a lot of sex clubs. So go and find them, find your people, find who, explore it with your partner.
What you want to do,
Yeah. And enjoy yourself.
Have fun.
And enjoy your yum.
Yeah. And no shame in the game.
There we go, guys. Did you want to say something?
I was just going to say, this is a really quick,
please.
quick thing. I know. I saw you were kind of wrapping
No,
up.
please.
Go.
But I did look up on Yahoo. They had this 2024 study of the top 5 kinks among people in relationships. 1, continuing after orgasm. 2, doing it on a
kink?
I guess so.
2, doing it on a balcony. 3, having sex while playing video games.
Oh, interesting.
4, waking each other up with oral sex. 5, working out together while naked.
Oh, interesting.
Those are kinks.
I think those were more fetishes.
Oh, again,
those are
kinks.
The
article
already.
says kinks. But
I forgot the definition.
No, but we were covering more fetishes today than kinks, and those are totally kinks.
Those are fun.
Another kink is like baby girl, daddy.
Yeah.
Another kink that I was thinking of is like the Mile High Club, things like that. Like those are more. That's considered kinky.
Sure.
So again, if you're like, oh, I don't really identify with any of those fetishes, there's a boatload of kinks. And enjoy yourself and look into it.
Yeah. Have fun with your partner.
Yeah. Look into it.
Yeah.
And enjoy yourself.
And then if you want to tell us about it.
Yeah, if you want to.
We'll listen.
I guess our DMs are open.
They are open.
They are. So
and again, thank you for submitting this topic. We are always open to talking about anything anybody wants to submit, and we hope that we covered it well. We hope that this opens up any doors for your exploration in your own life, and thank you so much for joining us on Femtell All. Don't forget to subscribe, comment, and like, and we'll see you next week on Femtell All.
Thank you so much.